All right, guys. So today we're going to be talking about how to find your purpose. And the reason why I want to make this video is because I watch AMS's video, and I think all of the content he talks about is amazing. But the one section that I feel like he doesn't really explain that well, or doesn't go as in depth as I would like to, is how to find your purpose. Because he says be on your purpose, but there's some people who don't know what the fuck that purpose is, you know. And even when they're on their purpose, it just doesn't seem like they connect to it to the point where they could completely put all of their being into it. So I want to be able to show you how to do that, because I believe that's something I specialize in. And we're going to be using the book Mastery by Robert Greene to get a lot of these references that I'm going to be talking about today. And this is also going to be part of a course that I'm making for guys on I forgot how, I don't know how to the name of the course, but it's going to be part of the course I'm going to be making, which I'm doing right now, right? So what is your purpose, right? Your purpose is your life's task, your calling. You see, everyone is unique. Everyone has a seed inside that you were born with as a child. As a child, before you developed language, before you even formulated a word or even had a self-identity, you had natural interest. You had things that you were just inclined to do, pre-verbal. It wasn't that somebody told you to do it. It wasn't that you saw somebody else do it. It's that when you saw it, you just wanted to do it. It was almost as though it was part of who you were born with. It's almost as though it's part of your DNA. But you're not even aware what's going on because you're just simply enjoying what you're doing. But as you grow older, you disconnect from that core self. People tell you do this, do that, and they start giving you superficial paths that fulfill superficial needs. In other words, that give you money, stability, and that allows your parents to say, "Hey, my son is successful." Those superficial needs. But the more you follow that path, the path of looking for money, the path of pleasing other people, the more you divert yourself from your true calling. And the way that you know that you have diverted yourself from your true calling is by the emptiness you feel at the depth of your being. You feel that disconnection, that dissatisfaction, that feeling that you cannot escape. That frustration is a feeling that you should focus on. That frustration is a feeling that you should look into, because it's telling you something. It's guiding you in a new direction. It's telling you that what you're doing is not what you're supposed to be doing. Your inner self, your inner calling speaking to you. All right. So to me, this is my favorite subject. Out of all the things I teach, this to me is my favorite subject, because this is the core, the everything, the foundation of all of the things that you do, right? How many times have you reread Mastery? Man, I was just more than you could ever imagine. Um, because it's pretty, what I said is pretty much what that book says, right? So the reason why you got to tap into that inner calling is because that inner calling takes no effort when discovered. That inner calling in itself, once you discover it, once you know what you got to do, it's almost as though you open a treasure chest full of energy, full of creativity, full of desire and motivation, right? Once you know what you're supposed to do, motivation is natural. That intensity naturally falls upon you. Some people are lucky. Kobe Bryant was lucky to find basketball when he was younger. Leonardo da Vinci was lucky to find drawing at the age of 9. Michelangelo was lucky to find sculpting at the age of 17, I believe. Actually, no, he was younger. A lot of people are lucky to find their calling, but that is the small percentage. You see, when you see a master, when you see somebody who's a master performing something at a high level, when you see Kobe Bryant playing, if you could watch Leonardo da Vinci draw, the reason why he's so good at it is because what you're seeing is the expression of himself, his expression in the form of an action. What you're seeing when you see a master perform, you're seeing himself fully express himself. That's all you're seeing. He's not trying to impress you. He's not trying to create an effect. He's just expressing himself. So when you see a master, what you're seeing is somebody who's able to fully express yourself. The problem is that in order for you to fully express yourself, you need to have a hold of your faculties, your internal faculties, your proverbial mouth, You got to know how to control that mouth. And that quote unquote mouth is the skills that you need, the fundamental skills that you need. You need to know how to draw properly. You need to draw how to release the ball properly before you learn how to do a crossover. So that when you're in a game and you want to dominate the game, you could actually assert yourself because you have all of the skills, all of the fundamental skills to perform any action that you want to do. Right? So when you see a master work, what you're seeing is somebody who's fully expressing themselves without hindrance. Why fully? Because they have mastered every area to the point that everything is muscle memory. They're not even thinking, they're just being. Makes sense? So if you guys are enjoying this, tap that donation button, man. It really helps. All right, 1 second. Let me connect this. I'm telling you, again, I think AMS is good, but this is the one thing that AMS sort of, doesn't really go as depth as I really wish he would go in depth. But who knows? All right. So let's talk about the first key to finding your purpose, because you got to realize your purpose is what allows you to not put a lot of value on women. You see, the key to dating women and all that sort of stuff is not putting value on them so that when they reject you, it doesn't hurt that much, right? But when you're not on your purpose, a woman's rejection will be a catastrophic event. You're going to feel it more. Let me give you my example, right? What I discovered that my purpose is drawing. My purpose is drawing, right? Why is that? It's because when I was a little kid, when I was 12, I used to draw all the time. I used to draw Dragon Ball Z. And what I noticed is that when I would draw, time would fly, right? So I began drawing, and I can promise you that since I began drawing, my neediness has gone away. I don't feel that need to want to hang out with a woman to feel good about myself. I don't feel that need the woman's validation to feel good about myself. I could intrinsically just sit down and enjoy myself, right? And I also have a goal, right? To become a painter, to become a professional painter, get paid for it, right? So that goal, when a woman says, hey, I can't hang out tonight, I focus on my goal. I'm like, back to drawing. And it's something that doesn't require energy. In fact, it becomes therapeutic. So why is that? It's because there's an emotional connection to your craft. You see, the key to finding your real purpose, the most important thing to finding your purpose is this: to have an emotional connection to your craft. You have to have an emotional connection to your craft. If you don't have an emotional connection to your craft, you're not going to put the intensity that's required to make that happen, right? So let me read to you some, because I'm actually reading an article of the summary of the book. Actually, let me not read the article. Let me read my notes. 1 second. I'm gonna read to you guys my notes because I think they're better. On 1 second. We're gonna talk about how to create that, how to find that calling right now. Watch. We're gonna really go into it right now. All right. So here it is. Here it is. All right. So, oh fuck. Connecting to your field. Okay. So how to find your primal inclinations, right? First, you got to realize this: why you must follow your inclinations. Again, it's natural inclination. It's not something that somebody told you. It's not like you playing basketball. It's not like you see people play basketball and now you want to play basketball to fit in. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you were a child, you were born with presetted interest. You like, some kids are born gay, some kids are born gay or straight, right? That presetted interest is something that takes no effort. And once you connect with that presetted interest, suddenly the motivation and the belief of making it happen will come naturally, as opposed to doing something that doesn't go with your character, and it takes effort. For me, an example was business. I wanted to get into business and like have my own company and sell products, and I noticed that it wasn't for me. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not that like analytical, that organized. It's not part of who I am. You see what I'm saying? So rather than try to be something I'm not, I find what I am good at and I embrace it. So the thing is, sometimes your natural inclination changes and your curiosities can lead to another field. That's fine, but focus on the moment and master what's in front of you. All right. So connecting to your field, you must have a deep connection to your work and it must transcend into a higher purpose. You see, in order for your purpose to really have the benefits, you must have an emotional connection to it. The sense of a calling or a purpose that goes beyond you in order to for you to delve deeply into it. But you must first get in touch with your natural inclination. And this requires a quiet mind because you are not heard, but because to find your inclination requires you to listen to your emotions, right? It's not like you can hear your purpose. You're gonna feel your purpose in a visceral reaction. You're seeing somebody draw and suddenly it makes you excited, right? Your body's talking to you. You're seeing somebody work in an office and it makes you bored. Your body's talking to you, right? Suddenly you pick up a pen and you start drawing and you feel happier. Your body's talking to you, right? You see that's how you get in touch with the visceral feeling of doing something, right? If there's no feeling to that action, it's not part of you, right? So these emotions are were there before you learn how to speak. So it requires a level of awareness that's beyond the verbal. The reason you must do that is because these emotions were there before it was diluted by other people's influence and suggestions. So notice what you're obsessed about. Things that you want to do over and over again that turn you on. These things were there and are part of a reflection of your natural and unique chemistry as an individual. If fostered and fed, it'll grow into a unique expression of your mastery and everyone will marvel. See what I'm saying? You must also embrace your uniqueness. It will make you weird and find ways to redirect it to your advantage. For example, um, let's say that you let's say that you let me give you an example. Let's say you're somebody who's into music, right? And you hate mumble rappers. You fucking hate mumble rappers, right? What happens then is that the reason you hate mumble rappers for a reason. So as a result, you focus on being more lyrically sound, and that becomes your strength. So you realize you're calling because you hate mumble rappers. There's an emotional connection to a lack of quality in rap, if that's your calling, right? Or let's say you're a basketball player and you enjoy okay, a better example could be let's say that you are a let's say you broke your let's say your father died of cancer, right? Of brain cancer, and you might have brain cancer, right? And you're actually a fucking smart person. So because you have this brain cancer, suddenly you have an emotional connection to that subject and you begin to study it. Guess what? You're going to study brain cancer with a lot of intensity because it's part of who you are. There's an emotional connection to it. So you naturally have all of the necessary creativity and desire. You won't need to read a Tony Robbins book, how to motivate yourself to do it. Is already part of who you are. So notice the things that you hate. Notice the parts of fields that for example, when it comes to dating, I hate that a lot of dating coaches act like they never get rejected. So what do? I do the opposite. I go with being more transparent. I even talk about other dating coaches that I follow. And I even praise them. I even talk about their subjects, right? Because it gives more transparency. That's more of an expression of who I am. Why? Because I realized that I hated people who, not hated, but I noticed that people used to would act like they're perfect, and that used to demotivate me. So allowing people to see your humanity through your imperfections allows you to be more relatable and more easily to be and you're easier to learn from because you're more relatable, right? So embrace your uniqueness. If you're fucking if you're short, embrace the shortness, right? Find a way how to use that to your advantage, right? If you're somebody who is this, I don't know, like fucking who's a mute, or I don't know. For example, like it could be let me show you. For example, me, I'm into spirituality, right? Ever since I was a little kid, I was into spirituality. So then that week, because that is kind of weird. A kid who's into spirituality, who goes to church, that uniqueness allows me to apply that to this, and it becomes mindful attraction, right? You see what I'm saying? So you got to find what that is, and you got to really pay attention to when you're bored. and why are you bored? And pay attention to when you're excited and why you're excited, and pay attention to who you admire and why you admire them. Remember the things when you were a child that you just kept doing all the time. Remember the dreams you had as a child and why you had those dreams. Remember the things that you enjoyed as a child and how they changed over time. Pay attention to your past. Don't think about your childhood. Just remember how it felt. Remember how it felt. How did it feel when you did this? How did it feel when you did that? Who did you hate in when you were a child? Who did you like when you were a child? In there, in those visceral, not thoughts, visceral reactions, you're gonna find yourself in there, and that could be a guide to finding your life's calling. All right. All right. So let's keep talking. All right. So that's one thing, right? Finding what you're connected to, right? So notice what activity turns you on and heightens your senses, right? If things or activities doesn't turn you on, maybe it's an aspect of the culture. If it's that you like rap, if it's that you like anything about culture, notice what fascinates you. If that doesn't turn you on, then maybe meeting masters in certain field excites you, right? So then maybe read different biographies of different people. Which biography excited you more and why? Meet different authors, meet different athletes. Notice who do you emotionally react to and why. Look for those visceral reactions. Right? And once you find what that is, then try to do that. Try to find a way to do what they're doing, because clearly your emotions are engaged when you see him or see him or her doing that thing, right? So what you got to do then, once you find what that is, then you got to follow that path, right? Second. But one of the most important things to do though is to avoid a false path, right? So false paths are choices we make for fame, neediness, and all external desires that don't come from your natural inclinations. At the end of the day, they will leave you empty and unfulfilled. Don't let the desire for comfort and security dominate your decision making. Become attuned to who you are by becoming alert to your natural inclinations. Don't let outside pressures force you into wrong paths. Sometimes they may be there out of care, and sometimes they're there out of envy. Some people will try to get you to stop doing what you want to do out of care, and some people will try to get you to stop doing what you want to do out of envy. So how do you recover once you're in a false path? Realize that you've taken the wrong path and try to step away from it, or at least follow your inclination by becoming more attuned to it. And second, develop hatred for the norm and for the forces that attempt to control you. Develop hatred for people and things that try to pull you away from your path, right? This disdain will create an enemy so that you know who to fight and who not to become. By hating people who try to pull you from your path, they become more easily identifiable and they give you more motivation to never want to be those kind of people. This also means that to hate the feeling of neediness and desire for attention, this will lead you astray. These are internal blockages to your destination. So also hate the feeling of needing and desire for attention. Those two things will cause you to make the wrong decision in your career. And let's say you are in a career that you hate, right? One second. Let's say you are in a career that you hate, right? One second. I think there's that. I want to read this, right? Um, All right, so here are some of the strategies to find your calling, right? Return to the origins that we talked about. Sometimes the inclination becomes clear while performing an activity, right? The second thing, occupy the perfect niche. Robert Greene talked about that. Overcrowded fields are attractive because everybody's there, but you get lost in politicking and can't focus on mastery. Find the niche you could dominate instead. Two strategies: start large and branch out till you find your own niche and find connections between different fields, right? So start wide. You say you want to become a doctor, start wide, and then narrow in on the field that connects with you. Let's say you've been struggling with pain in your arms or shoulder, right? Guess what? That's something personal. Find a way to study that because you clearly have an emotional connection to that, and you connect with those kind of patients, right? So if you're in a field, narrow that field. You see what I'm saying? um, Avoid false paths, like we talked about. Let go of the past. You don't have to fully abandon what you're doing so far, but you can learn new ways to apply the skills and experiences. For example, I used to be a social worker. I was shitty on that, but I do apply some of the things I learned in social work with my one-on-one clients, right? So that's why you should always do whatever you're doing. Try to really learn from what you're doing because you could leave that field and do whatever the hell you want to do, but apply what you learned in that field to that new field, and without you knowing it, you have an advantage. For example, what's my advantage with drawing? I'm not someone who draws a lot, right? I haven't been drawing for many years, but I like to think that my advantage is what I learned from this, is understanding how people learn, right? That's what the only advantage that I have above other artists, right? And as a result of 6 months, I believe, of drawing, now I can do stuff like this. 6 months of drawing. Look at that, right? I mean, it's pretty clear that anybody can learn. I mean, look, I mean, 6 months of drawing, that's not normal, right? But I have an advantage. I came from a different field, and I apply what I learned from that field into drawing, and it gives me a different mentality. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I am a 28-year-old, and I have started late, but I have an advantage, right? So time is never really wasted. And sometimes, let me tell you something, man. Sometimes you're in a field that is not your field. And again, sometimes moving away from that field is an advantage because you leave and you find a new field and you're bringing in your unique perspective to that field, right? So how do you deal with moving into a new field? Because most likely you might need that, right? So this is what you do, right? When in a new environment, the first thing you got to do is soak in the culture, right? Don't try to impose yourself, just soak it in. Learn about what makes people successful in the field, and notice who are the anomalies. Notice the people who are successful, who got promoted, right? Pay attention to those, and also pay attention to people who got fired and why they got fired, right? Drop preconceptions and assumptions and stop trying to impress. Simply impress with your desire to learn. You don't want to threaten people. You don't want to threaten people with your over ambition. What is it? Never outshine the master, right? So in a new job, notice people who got fired and why, and those who ascended and why. Take everything you see and hear as information which you have to decode so that you have a deep understanding of the reality that you're facing. Because there are the rules of the job, and then there are the real rules of the job, right? That's what you want to know. The reason why you must do this is because you want to avoid making mistakes, and it helps you navigate the environment. It also helps you develop the skills of observation, which is vital for success later in life. The last reason why is because you'll get used to first observing and then analyzing. You learn to think before projecting your own insecurities and assumptions. This is important. It helps you grasp and understand your environment better, right? So let's say you're saying, Alexis, I don't have any strengths. I don't have nothing to work on. How can I find my purpose if I don't have any strength? Listen, motherfucker. This is what you gotta do. Don't focus on your weaknesses and surrender to the need to be like others, right? Don't focus on your weakness, right? Notice what you're good at. Even if it's small, begin there. Establish that foundation of confidence and it'll branch out into other skills, right? Don't focus on a great future. Just focus on building that confidence and skills that opens the other doors, right? Why? Because finding your niche in life or your purpose sometimes won't come obvious, but it'll come masked in your weaknesses. You see, this will make you focus on the little things you're good at. This gives you the habit that are needed to master a skill, which is what? Discipline, the patience, and even better, the rewarding feeling of improving, right? This has a momentum effect that you could only have through having a discipline, patience, and having that feeling of improvement. Also, let go of envy and desire to be better than those who are naturally better than you, right? Because there are people who are naturally better than you, people who are naturally better looking than you. Sometimes it's a curse and a blessing, because sometimes it is a curse, and it is a curse to be naturally good at something, because that means you don't put in the effort, right? You don't have that grit. You never develop, you never develop that heart to continue doing something you're not good at. All right, so use your weakness as a way to grow, as a way to motivate you to get past your own limitations. Those people who are naturally gifted sometimes fail to focus on fundamental principles that come back to bite them in the future, right? So with me, my weakness was that I wasn't I had wasted a lot of time not learning how to draw. So what did I do? I said to myself, all right, I'm gonna find something that I'm strong at. I'm gonna find that one strength. Let's just say with basketball, right? Let's say you suck at basketball. Rather than learning how to dribble, the first thing you want to do, focus all of your attention on just one thing, the release motion. You focus on that for a few months, right? And you get really good at that, right? And then you learn how to catch and shoot, right? After that, you learn how to catch, how to dribble from with one dribble, pull up and shoot. Like pull up, shoot. You already mastered this, right? And then you already mastered the catch and shoot. Now you want to master the dribble, pull up and shoot, right? So your strength is in the pull up. Some guys are different. Some guys are really good at tagging the basket. They make that their strength. So now when they threaten you with one move, you back off. So then now once you master attacking the basket, then you master shooting. You see what I'm saying? So you find one thing to be strong at, so that it could open a door. You get good at shooting so that you could get on the court, so that people could pick you, right? So what that is for you, for me, I could get decent. I could find something that I'll get good at. I could find getting good at creating the background, so that I could be hired as an intern in a company. So I'll just learn how to draw a background, learn how to draw a landscape, learn how to draw flowers, learn how to draw in perspective, so that it could open me the door. I don't have to learn how to draw or paint. Heck, I could even just learn how to first make my own paint, learn how to create my own paint by hand, so that I could offer that service to different studios and say, hey, look, man, I'll make you your paint. I'll make you handmade. I'll make you custom made paint just for you. And I know how to do it because I've been doing it myself. That's a skill that'll get me in the door. So you got to find what that is. What do you enjoy a lot about that field, and master that one field, and use that strength as to get in the door, right? All right, guys. Don't forget to donate, man. I be seeing AMS getting donations. I don't see any time guys doing donations or whatever. And another thing that I want you to understand, right? And this is because this is a long topic, and I think I'm gonna finish it right now, man. But always keep this in mind, man. You're gonna be on your own with this. You know, people are gonna make it difficult on you. You're gonna have a lot of obstacles, right? So you gotta make your own opportunities. Some people are not gonna come to you with opportunities. You gotta go to them. You gotta request those opportunities, but you gotta have something to offer. Have an maybe you're more organized. Maybe you organize somebody's I don't know. Like the point is, you gotta have something to offer, because when it comes to mastering a skill, you need to find a mentor, and that mentor needs to mentor you, and you got to offer something that suits the mentor's self-interest. You have to suit the mentor's self-interest. Either you're good at organizing, or you know how to draw, or you make him feel younger because he's at your presence, or you remind them of his younger self. The point is, you got to offer something, because the best way to master something is to observing people, using your mirror neurons. That's how we learned before, right? So again, look, man, I want you to know that to truly make this work, you got to think long term. To sum it up, this is going to take around 10 years. 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. It might take 5 or 10 years. 5 years to be noticeable and you're like, oh, this is pretty good. 10 years to be exceptional. Because you want to experience that feeling of mastery. It's what we were born to do. That feeling will allow you to escape reality and go into a world where you're creative and you can fully express yourself. You need that, because then when you do this, a woman says, hey, I can't hang out with you tonight, and you realize, all right, cool, it's all good. Like, I could just draw, because drawing 5 years from now, I'm gonna be an amazing painter, and I'm gonna have my own studio. I'm gonna have students, and of course, women will naturally follow. It's just how it is. Women will come to you if you're a master at something. They will. They just will. You will become famous if you're one of the best of something. It's just how it is. I mean, like, it's the laws of of the world. If you're really good at something, they will come. There's no other way around it. There's no other way around it. It's that simple. Get good at something, pussy will come. Simple as that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's pretty linear. It's pretty straightforward. Why the hell do I have so many women watching this, man? All right. If you guys, I'm gonna put in the Patreon link if you guys want to donate on Patreon. 1 second. You guys can donate here too. 1 second. Here, you guys can use this, and if you guys want to donate. All right, people, I'm out. I'm gonna see you guys later. And oh no, that wasn't the link. That wasn't the link. 1 second. That was the wrong link. That was the wrong link. Is it this? 1 second. Fuck. Fuck. All right, let me see. Let me see. I'm sorry, people. I'm trying to find my Patreon link. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've been wanting to make this video a while ago. 1 second. Fuck, man. What the hell is my Patreon link? Fucking bullshit. I'm gonna leave the link on the thing. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't super chat. Who else can super chat? It's a little weird if you guys cannot super chat. Oh no, Mindful Alex is out the window, man. We're always evolving, man. You can't expect me to stay the same, Fuck me, man. Fuck, man. All right, man. Look, man. You're fine, man. All right, man. I'm out, man.